Hey guys, it's Corey Upper from BowHunterPlanet.com. I was talking to Dave the other day, and he said that during a podcast, some of you were asking for some information for first-time bow hunters for turkeys and some advice and stuff like that. Well, I've been hunting turkeys with a bow for about 15 years. I've been relatively successful, far from pro level, but I think I've shot 7 or 8 turkeys with my bow. Actually, one more than I've ever shot with a gun. And just want to go over with you guys today about, some of the tactics and tips and equipment and stuff that I use when I'm bow hunting for turkey. When bow hunting for turkeys, I generally always do my turkey hunting out of a ground blind, a pop-up blind of some sort. I've only killed one turkey that wasn't from a ground blind. I'm going to be honest with you, it was lucky. It was a perfect situation, or I'm not exactly sure that would have happened. I really like to hunt from a ground blind and sit inside there because it's a lot different than with a shotgun. With a shotgun, you can lean up against a tree. All you gotta do is flick the safety off, move the gun a little bit in a lot of cases, and bam, you've got your turkey. But with a bow, you have to draw that bow back, maybe get up on your knees, and it's just gonna be a lot more difficult for you to draw your bow, settle your pin, and get a shot before that turkey bugs out. Additionally, turkeys don't have a big kill zone, so that extra time that it's going to take and that turkey's moving away, it's going to be a lot more difficult for you to shoot them. So I like to do it from a ground blind. When I'm in the ground blind, generally all my ground blinds at least have a black interior. So I generally wear black head to toe. Turkeys have excellent eyesight, so a different color inside that blind, once they get close to it, I feel that the turkeys are gonna see that. So I don't wear things like camel like I'm wearing now typically. I'll wear a black hoodie with a black hat and even wear a black face mask so that only really my eyes are showing. Because turkeys have such a small kill area, I don't really like to take long shots. Generally, I like to shoot between 15 and 20 yards if I'm gonna shoot at a turkey with the bow. I have taken some longer shots over the years, been lucky enough to get the birds. I think the farthest one I've ever took was about 43 yards. Made a good shot on it. The turkey ran away. I had to go run it down, but I got it. Made a relatively good shot on it. So, I would go with a ground blind, wear black when you're inside so that you blend in, so that you can get away with a little bit of movement when you're drawing your bow and stuff like that when the turkeys get close enough. Generally, when I'm in the ground blind too, I only have one window open. I might have one cracked so that I can kind of see what's coming, but if you get too much light inside that blind, the turkeys are going to see you moving and they're not as likely to come in. So that's kind of my general setup. As far as where do I hunt, it's kind of like deer hunting. I'll figure out where the turkeys are roosting and I'll set and where they're feeding, and I'll kind of get set up in between them. There's this one ridge at this farm that I have permission to hunt. I've killed most of my turkeys on that ridge. They roost down over the creek. There's big hay fields and stuff out there that they go out and feed in. I get up on this oak ridge. They generally cross it at some point during the day, and I can call a bird in that's kind of maneuvering through the area, and that's been successful for me. When you're out driving around in the morning, go out before work, see where the birds are moving is a good tactic too, and kind of get set up on them. They don't seem to be real weary about a ground blind that's new to the area, like deer sometimes are. So you can generally pop up a pop-up blind. You don't have any problems with worrying about the turkeys, being afraid of it or anything. In my experience, they'll come right into it. As far as decoys go, there's 2 decoys that I primarily use. I use this one right here, the Funky Chicken from Flex Tone. I like it because it's small, it's compact, it's the overall small body I think is less intimidating to the birds. And the other thing I like is in my opinion, it has a very realistic head. The paint on it is really good, doesn't have a huge beard to intimidate birds, and I've had good success with this. Then I generally also put out a hen decoy as well. I use this one. I think it's from HS Strut. Again, it's got a fairly realistic and well-painted head, so I think it does a good job of portraying a turkey versus kind of the old foam ones from, I don't know, even back in the early 90s, late 80s. I don't think they're as realistic. Do they work? I think they do, but I think modern turkey decoys with a realistically painted head and stuff do a little bit better job as far as drawing turkeys in. When it comes to my bow setup, I'm not sure if poundage is
extremely important. You're not shooting a 200-pound whitetail in Iowa, you know, but turkeys are tough. You do need an arrow or a bow that's got sufficient poundage to punch through. If it comes to broadheads for turkeys, I typically like an expandable type of a broadhead because the kill zone on a turkey is very small. In many cases, I don't know if it's a whole lot bigger than a softball. And so I want a broadhead that's as wide as possible to help close that margin of error on that small target. You know, a hybrid head like this one from Ramcat would be a good choice. I killed a lot of turkeys with like a 2-inch rear deploy expandable like this one here. You know, I think this actually one is 2.5. I've had really good luck with those. Not to say that a fixed blade broadhead wouldn't do the job. I've killed a couple with Ramcat Hydra Shocks. They did a great job. I just kind of like that wider broadhead that gives me a little bit more margin for error on my shot. As far as calls go, I generally only take 2 calls into the woods with me. I take a slate call, like this one here, and I take a turkey diaphragm into the woods. The turkey diaphragm, I like that because if I hear a hen in the area, I generally, with a turkey diaphragm, I can imitate that hen. And sometimes that's a good tactic to imitate the sounds that you're hearing will get those birds to come in. And I like the turkey diaphragm because I can do that. Plus, I think I can get good volume that reaches out a long ways with the turkey diaphragm if I think I need to. But I also like the slate call because it kind of mixes things up a little bit. You can do purrs and clucks a little bit easier on a slate call. So I like those 2 calls as generally what I take into the woods. I personally have not had much success with box calls or the push button calls or anything like that. These are kind of my bread and butter calls that I stick to. You know, so that's kind of the gist of what I do when I'm turkey hunting. I've had much more success in the morning than I have in the evening. Generally, I think the vast majority of the turkeys I've shot have been within that first 2 hours of the morning. I try to get to the blind, you know, either as it's breaking day or just before. You can hear the turkeys come down off the roost, and then generally they're pretty loud when they come down off the roost, and I'll start calling immediately and sometimes get them to come in. If you find that lonely gobbler that didn't go up with the hens the night before, I've had really good luck getting them to come in first thing in the morning to my decoy spread. Thinking of decoy spreads, probably want to put that spread, I generally put it about 15 yards in front of my stand. That way, if a turkey comes directly into the decoys, it got about a 15-yard shot. But if they're a little bit shy and they're kind of hanging back a little bit, I think, you know, you can still get that 20, 25-yard shot in. I also take a rangefinder with me because if that turkey's out there and it's a distance that I'm not exactly sure of, because the kill area is so small, I generally want to know exactly what that yardage is so I know where to hold my pin. So I do take a rangefinder with me, and the nice thing about being in a blind is you can kind of get away with that extra movement to range the bird, draw your bow and stuff like that, being in that ground blind. So those are kind of some of the things that I use and the tactics that I've been successful with over the years in hunting turkeys. I think if you try them, you'll be successful too. Turkey hunting with a bow, it isn't like hunting with a gun at all. Personally, I find it a lot more relaxing because you're just sitting in a blind, in a chair. You're not running and gunning and leaning up against a tree and stuff like that. You know, you kind of sit and relax, and I really enjoy it. I honestly enjoy it more than I enjoy hunting with a gun. So I haven't hunted turkeys with a gun in probably at least 10 years. And to be honest, I don't really intend to start hunting them with a gun again as long as I can bow hunt for turkeys. It's way more fun to me. So give it a try. You know, if you get a bird, send it to us here at BowHunterPlanet. We'd love to see it. Also, hey, if you haven't already, sign up for the Apex Turkey Challenge in your state. Especially with a bow, that would be an awesome trophy to display there, and you might win cash and prizes as well. So, till next time, I'm Corey Upper for BowHunterPlanet.com. Thanks for watching.